What's up, guys? This is Beast Cubing, and this is 5 F2L tips for beginners, intermediates, and advanced. This tutorial is pretty much for anybody who uses the beginner method or CFOP. So, let's just get into the first one. The first one is, if you're still using the beginner method, then you should learn F2L. It's so much easier than people think. And beginner F2L, it's really easy. It might take a while to memorize most of the algorithms, but it's definitely not as hard as like learning full PLL, in my opinion. So that's the first tip. Let's get into a real tip. This is for a flipped corner. If you have a flipped corner, this can happen in CFOP or beginner method. This happens all the time to everybody. How I do it, there's quite a few algorithms, but I don't like to think of it as an algorithm. It's pretty simple. All you have to do is take out the pair like this, move it over to the back, and then what we need to do is split these up. So this needs to be here, so we're going to move this down, move it twice, so like this, and now they're together as a pair, so I'm going to move it over and insert it. Compared to how most beginners do it, they go like this, they move this into it like this, and then move this back. That's so much slower, as you can see. So we're gonna time both of them. Here's the way I do it. I messed up, and that's still 3 seconds pretty much. And here's the beginner way. I'm gonna try and do it as fast as I possibly can. And that's a whole second and a half, which might not seem like a lot, but in a solve, that can be a lot more. So, yeah, that's the second tip. Let's move on to the third tip. All right, now we're moving on to the third tip. This tip is mostly for beginners, I would say. If you know full CFOP, you probably don't need to know this. But it starts after you've solved the cross. Most beginners will go into doing this algorithm to solve every corner. And that's good most of the time. But if it looks like this, or even this sometimes, there's a better way to solve it than just going like this. We all know this algorithm. And you can do that by doing the opposite of that algorithm, which is this. So in this situation, where you see this corner, it goes right here, and white is facing you. You could do up, over, then down, then over 5 times, which is way too long, or you could do the opposite of it 1 time to solve it. So, and then that's the same thing for this one. If it's in the bottom and white is facing you, just do the opposite of it twice. And then all the other ones, I would say you should probably just use the normal algorithm. But for those 2 situations, which is 1/3 of the time, you should use the opposite of it. So once again, the notation will pop up on the screen. It's the exact opposite of the normal thing, and you can do it pretty much just as fast if you practice it. I can do it a little bit slower. Actually, a lot slower. Actually, no, not that much slower. I just don't practice it a lot because I use advanced CFOP. So, yep, that's the third tip. Okay, now the fourth tip is for pretty much the same thing. When you're done with the cross and you're inserting the corners, you don't have to use your right hand to do it. So let's just say this happens. What I would do is, since I face this, just like last tip I showed you, do the opposite of it. And then instead of moving this to my right hand, you can just use your left hand to solve it. But since it's facing you, you'd probably use the opposite. So you should know your right hand, this algorithm, your right hand, the opposite, your left hand of it, and your left hand, the opposite. that's tip 4, and here is the last tip. So this goes for when the first layer is solved. For most beginners, what you're gonna do is match these up, go like this, then use rotation like that. But there's an easier way to insert them without using rotation, and that's like this. So you match this up with your color, move it away from that other one, and then instead of matching them up like this, what you're gonna do is this, which is a lot faster. So here I'm gonna show you the timing. So this is the slower way, 1.72 seconds, which is still pretty fast, but it's definitely not as fast. And here's the faster way, 1.2, and that might not seem like it's as fast, but it's a lot faster if you do it like every single time. And the solve, you can save like 5 seconds, which is really nice. And then you can do the same for left hand, like this, instead of going like this. What you can do is go like this. So here it is again. No rotations and no hand regrips, which is super nice. Okay, that's it for the 5 F2L tips. This is probably coming out on a Thursday, and the cross tips have already came out on a Tuesday, last Tuesday, on my YouTube. Tomorrow, on Friday, I will come out with a last layer 5 tips on my Instagram, so make sure to go follow my Instagram if you don't want to miss it. And if you haven't seen my cross tips video, it's my last video on YouTube. Go watch that now if you want to learn 5 tips on how to help your cross. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.